Winton Motor Raceway here in Victoria. We're in the final afternoon. It's round 6 of the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series for 2025, and what a championship it's been. Jarrod McLean joins me here on pit lane. It's going to be a super exciting afternoon.
Yeah, 6 rounds throughout the 2025 season, and it culminates here at Winton Motor Raceway for the Winton Wrap. What an incredible season and some amazing action.
Well, Brock Payne has really stood out this weekend. The young gunners come through. We've seen him join us in round number 3 of racing this year for the TA2 Muscle Car Series. 2 pole positions, now his first ever race win in the series as well.
Yeah, if anyone wasn't paying attention to the rising star of Brock Payne, I think the Winton Wrap has really proven that they need to open their eyes.
Ben Gomersol is running second in the championship at the moment, but he nearly became unstuck yesterday, didn't he? In race number 2 yesterday, there was a scary rejoin, and he actually copped a 5-second penalty for it. It was turn number 7 where he went wide, and he came in right between Hayden Hume and, of course, Blake Tracy in the Hi-Tec Oils car.
Yeah, Blake Tracy wasn't giving any quarter. He said that Gomersol set the tone in race 1, so he just served it right back.
Of course, Jarrod Hughes wrapped up the championship at our last round, round number 5 at Malala in South Australia. Of course, with the championship on the line, not only is it the massive trophy he gets with that one, but of course, the $10,000 Wallace Bishop Jewellery's ring as well, the TA2 Championship ring.
Yeah, that'll look really good on Jarrod Hughes' hand. He unfortunately can't be here over in New Zealand at the moment. Best of luck to him, but the action is going to rage on here today.
One of the dominant forces in TA2 muscle cars has been Jarrod Hughes, and last time out in Malala in South Australia, he managed to clinch the championship. Yes, he can't be caught here at this round. Unfortunately, we don't have him here, though, because he's over in New Zealand racing GT4s this weekend, but super dominant throughout the TA2 Muscle Car Series when it came to 2025. We caught up with him earlier this week to talk about his championship win.
Hey guys, Jarrod Hughes here. Unfortunately, not going to be at Winton this weekend for the last round of the TA2 Muscle Car Series, racing in New Zealand, Hampton Downs in the GT4 Series. Unfortunately, those 2 rounds have clashed, but unreal to wrap up the championship with a round to go. Can't thank my whole team enough. The whole group of people that are behind me have been amazing this year. It's been a massive team effort from myself to my mechanics and Laurie on the data and engineering. The whole team has been awesome. So I can't thank IES Motorsport and Encore Motorsport enough for all the support they've given me this year and for all the working together we've done as well. Obviously, it's a hard thing to win a championship, no matter what championship it is, and it took a lot of hard work and a lot of time and money and everything like that. So you can't thank them enough for everything they've done for this year, and yeah, looking forward to where this takes us. It's awesome to wrap this up, and it's a great thing to add to my resume as well. There's obviously some pretty fast people and some awesome people that have won this series in the past, so it's awesome to be added to that list. But we'll see where this takes us now. It's been a great 2025, and then we'll see where 2026 takes us. But yeah, can't thank everyone enough that's in my corner, and look forward to seeing what the results are like this weekend.
I'll tell you what, we spoke about our pole sitter Brock Payne. Let's head over to Melinda Price and catch up with him.
Yes, presented by Craig Denyer, our Road Active Suspension Pole Position Award. Brock Payne, 2 from 2, but the gap's a little bit closer than it was yesterday.
Yeah, that was definitely a tight qualifying session, so stoked to still be able to get pole for this race. I'm just so happy for all my sponsors and family that have supported me this year. Finally getting the results, you know, they deserve, so can't wait to see what we can do off the front row in this race.
Well, you've got your first pole this weekend, your first race win. All that's left is to win the round now.
Look, we'll see how we go. We'll focus one race at a time, so we've still got 2 races to go, so see what we can do in this one.
Great to see you and the team ending the year on a high.
Thank you, yeah.
Well, here in front of a stacked TA2 grid, I've got the owner of Hi-Tec Oils and the newly announced Super Series promoter, George Gambino. George, the 2026 calendar, it has been released, and we are going to some amazing tracks.
Yeah, it's great and exciting because all the AASA guys have set it all up really well. We're going to be promoting it very much bigger than it has been, so bring it on next year.
This is a step up, obviously. Hi-Tec Oil Super Series, Hi-Tec, the naming rights sponsor. You've got even more skin in the game here, and you're really wanting to see this succeed.
Yeah, well, Hi-Tec Motorsport will obviously take over the promotional part of that, working with AASA and all the team. And I've got Kaz next to me, who's going to run most people side by side most of the time and deal with everybody, all the issues. So I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Carolyn Aldano, you're our Super Series manager, and it is a job that has many facets. The day-to-day running, making sure that everything lines up is important, of course, but the relationships that you build and maintain are equally as important, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, with any partnership, you've got to have a good relationship, and I'm blessed to have George by my side. We share the same vision and passion for motorsport, so I'm really looking forward to the 2026 season.
The calendar, it is 6 rounds, and as we mentioned with George, we're going to some incredible places, aren't we?
We most certainly are. We haven't disclosed the last one, but I can tell you it's going to be under lights, and it's going to certainly be one to finish 2026 with a big bang.
Hi-Tec Oils Super Series getting even bigger and better in 2026. The last round under lights. Where could it be? Well, you can only wait and find out.
Highlights. Thanks to Hyundai of race number 1 of the TFH High TA2 Muscle Car Series. And they played nicely into turn number 1. There's a bit of bump and grind at the back. Maybe that was the moment Blake Tracy was talking about.
Definitely. Looks like that could have been the contact. I think he got a little bit in the front and the rear in the first couple of corners there. So disappointing you had that issue to go back to lap down.
Graham Cheney off the track in the IES Chevy Camaro, dropped in 2 positions. Lee Stibbs with damage on the front of his car, didn't get past the first lap, and he was sprinting back to the pits to jump into the IRC car. He plays double duties. This was Josh Thomas working the back of Blake Tracy down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, reeled him up around the outside and comfortably got the job done before the 100-metre board mark into the S's. And in this moment, just a little off the track there for the Hutchinson Builders car. The Chevy Camaro was the only invitation needed for Ben Gomersall to move into the lead. And from that point, he just disappeared down the road to be nearly 4.5 seconds when the checkered flag came out at the end of 15 laps to score his 3rd victory of 2025 of race 2. They were 3 wide down at turn number 1. Now, was that the contact from the TFH car that did the damage, or was it from the Marcus Ambrose car on the Brock Payne machine while Lee Stibbs went into the wall? This was Thomas, the first mistake to happen up here at turn 7.
Yeah, there was a couple there just jumping over that curb. It's a real awkward one if you don't get it right. Unfortunate for Josh Thomas, that made his race really hard for him. And then same, Ben Gomersall, but what a really lucky it didn't affect him, but the re-entry.
Yeah, that's what cost him 5 seconds. He rejoined just ahead here, but then we feel it might have been a similar drama to the Stibbs car that happened to Blake Tracy. He climbed out of the Hi-Tec Oil Chevy Camaro and called it a day. Maybe this was the issue. That was the first of the power steering dramas, maybe. That was the power steering smoke coming out of the La Machina entry.
Perhaps a bit of fluid coming out of there early in the race.
And that put him out of the race. We talk about Josh Webster. That's where it went down. I think by then his arms had had enough through the series of right and left complexes down here around the Gumtree. But for Brock Payne, 5 seconds was the victory in the end. Back to Diesel Thomas, and he scores the fastest lap of the race for the 2nd time today. Brock Payne.
Here with 2/3 of HCC distribution, Graham Cheney and Mark Crutcher. These are the guys that are out there wrestling the TA2 muscle cars around tracks the nation over. Graham Cheney, the first season with HCC, effectively running the show, supplying the parts. There's been some lessons learned, but it's been an incredible season, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's been very exciting, and it's been a big step for us because obviously we've got a lot of other stuff happening, but it's I think we've brought back the love in the TA2 and Trans Am series. So,
and it's definitely an action-packed category on both sides of that fence, TA2 and Trans Am. If you want action, that's the place to go to. How do you balance the on-track antics and running the show behind the scenes?
It's definitely challenging, but yeah, I think we've adapted to it pretty good, and it's just the family environment we're here. Everyone's here to have fun, so it makes it a lot easier.
The man with a self-proclaimed love for a new car smell, Mark Crutcher. We're wrapping up the season here at Winton Raceway for TA2 Muscle Cars. It was an interesting start to the season for you out there on the backside of the track, wasn't it? Do you remember?
We started here at the start of the year, didn't we? No, it wasn't very successful, was it?
Steering wheel. You remember that one? That would have been a hairy moment.
Yeah, it was. I blame Coxie. Yeah. It can't be my fault. Yeah, you're right. The steering wheel came off. It got quite a few views. Yeah, it was a hairy start to the year.
Again, these TA2s are an absolute handful, but also must be an absolute joy to drive.
Oh, they're the greatest car you'll ever drive. They're loose, they're old-fashioned H-pattern, 4-speed, V8. The reason the business is so successful is the cars are so great. The cars are true race cars, and everyone that gets in them loves them. And I think the people love watching that door-to-door racing as well.
And of course, massive news, TA2 coming back to the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series for 2026. It's going to be an incredible season ahead. What's your thoughts on coming back again?
Oh, fantastic. Look, we've done a deal. We're really happy with the deal. We think we've got a great support from AASA moving forward, and George Gambino as well with Hi-Tec Oils. It's a solid partnership. I think we've got some good tracks for next year. The TV package is fantastic, and we have such a big interest for next year as well. So we're expecting large numbers to fill the grid again.
Looking forward to it. TA2 Muscle Cars delivering the excitement, and we couldn't do it without HCC and, of course, the whole travelling circus that goes around the country with them.
Certainly a category on the rise, that's for sure. Thank you, Jarrod McLean, down with Mark Crutcher and Graham Cheney. They're on track now because race 3 of the weekend, the TFHI TA2 Muscle Car Series by Maritimo, and they'll be battling out for the Masters Class Award. We'll talk about that during the course of the afternoon. The Serco Master Class will win a set of Serco pads for highest point scoring driver over 45 here today. So we get set to take a look at the grid. Back-to-back poles for Brock Payne in the Chevy Camaro. Has Josh Webster his best ever qualifying result on the front row. Big turnaround for the Marcus Ambrose Motorsport team. Ben Gomersall and Blake Tracy on row 2. Diesel Thomas and Graham Cheney. Great lap in qualifying earlier today for Cheney. Then Josh Thomas, Hayden Hume, who was on the podium in the second race yesterday. Crutcher and Des Collier in 9 and 10. Lee Stibbs, a better qualifying result with Danny Reedy, Glenn Eben, Hayden Pullen and Warren Wadley, who'll start from 15th position. We had 16 cars. Sadly for Paul Hadley, he's withdrawn. He's actually here at the track still watching on, which is good to see. The other part, the HCC group, watching on as they make their way around to the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. 20 minutes of competition. The penultimate race of 2025. And what's been a hard-charging year with the champion already crowned. The battle for second is well and truly alive as they race down to turn 1 for the first time. Payne to the lead, Webster to second. Gomersall tries the outside. Blake Tracy rides the curve like a ball through the middle of turn 2. And now challenging for that position with Diesel Thomas as they fan back into single file. In car with the young teenager as he attacks the unit racing car, also prepared by TFH Racing. Ben Gomersall just ahead.
Real tight stuff.
Oh! Caught the tail end of it as the two Masters Class drivers coming together. What are we watching here out of turn 3? We caught the start of it, certainly saw the end of it, and there has to be damage to the not-so-new Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
Wow.
The 2 Series owners just on screen. Wow.
Coming off of turn number 3. And that puts the cat amongst the pigeons. They're back to 14th and 15th place. That was a big one. Serious airtime.
Yeah, wow. Good for the parts truck.
Exactly. They won't like the sound of that. But it's their own money. Let's see if they fire back into contention. So a feisty start here in race number 1 of the day. Danny Reedy gets past Des Collier on the way down to the penultimate turn. Behind is Glenn Eben and the Alien Tech Chevy Camaro. So 1 lap in, it's going to be Brock Payne by just over half a second as they come by to complete lap 1. Cool sound as they make their way down into the second lap here through the S's and up past the old start-finish line here at Winton Motor Raceway. So just half a second covering the top 3. As Blake Tracy works the back of Diesel Thomas. The Hi-Tec Oils car looks much better than yesterday.
Yeah, it looks much better, but he's still not as comfortable. He doesn't want to be in P5. We know that much. Lee Stibbs up 3 spots on lap 1, so it's awesome to see him looking racy.
Put Stibbs into position 8. Crutcher has come back into pit lane. I did notice Cheney cruising as well. So not surprising. Not sure if there was contact. We only caught the end of that coming out of turn number 3, but certainly has put the Crutcher Developments Ford Mustang back into pit lane. And the team with Jordan Cox on the radio too, Crutch. We'll see if they can get that back out onto the circuit later on today. So they worked out what was the old back straight in the days. And it's the sharp left-hander. It takes us down to the completion of another lap. Payne, Webster, Gomersall, Thomas, and Blake Tracy. Josh Thomas is next, and Hayden Hughes. Lee Stibbs, Danny Reedy, Des Collier to take the view from the Hutchinson Builders Montauk Tavern sponsored number 33 Chevy Camaro of Brock Payne.
Webster's not letting him go though. It's probably the tightest top 3 since we've seen the start of this weekend. Those guys aren't letting each other get away.
So through to complete a lap as the crews watch on. Different conditions to what we had for this morning in qualifying. In fact, there's a bit of a cool breeze out there now compared to this morning, and certainly yesterday afternoon. It warmed right up here in regional Victoria, but just some cloud cover off in the distance. So we have a look at a replay of the start. Payne got a great start there, maybe a little bit of an advantage there before the control line, but they sorted themselves out through the middle of the turn. They stayed in the rows of two up past the Allstars finish line. But what we don't know, I'm trying to look towards the back there. There is Cheney and Crutcher in the background, the yellow and black and the blue Chevy Camaro. What we saw from Diesel Thomas. This will tell us on the way down. And just bumping into each other. But look at the airtime here in a moment. They both clamber up over the top, and that will be the damage. Front end loaders for a moment. You'll be looking forward to that conversation at the end of the race. Mark Crutcher, our first DNF of today's third race of the weekend. 12.5 minutes remaining as Payne still has 0.7 of a second on Webster, Gomersall, Blake Tracy and Diesel Thomas. We're looking back at Des Collier, Glenn Ebert and Danny Reedy, who's about to finish his second full season in the Danny Orr Earth-moving number 5 Chevy Camaro. And in comes Graham Cheney. Might get that conversation in just a few moments' time. That's Tim Brook in the background with the collar up and the radio on. So good to see some regular names that we've seen on the national scene in this series. It's going to be good help. You referred to Garnett Patterson, who's doing great things overseas.
Yeah, it's awesome. And having Tim Brook, multiple race winner in both Trans Am and TA2. He was on board with me last year when we were trying to beat Josh Haynes. We've done that on a couple of occasions, but not all the time. So having Tim Brook was just a massive help. And yeah, and he's got Graham and Graham's son Tyler now in the GR Cup Series. And I'm sure Tyler's going to be doing some big things next year as well within this series.
A queue of people lining up for next year to get into the TA2 Muscle Car Series. A lot of excitement building for the off-season. They'll be at the Ben Motorsport Park in March. We are first round, so kicking it off in South Australia, March 13 to 15. At the new venue in SA, newish venue. It's coming up 10 years now since that opened out there at Tailem Bend. So we go back into another lap. So Webster hanging with Brock Payne. This is good to see from the Tasmanian in the La Machina Mustang. Gomersall, who broke through for his first victory of his career in this very race in the opening round of 2025 back in February. Funny how we've come back to Winton with almost the same conditions what we had for round one.
Always refer to Winton either stinking hot or raining.
Yep.
I don't know if it's ever perfect here.
No in-betweens.
I reckon Blake Tracy's done a good job. We must have missed him getting past the TFH cars of Diesel and Josh Thomas, and he's actually probably the fastest car on track as we speak.
Up to 4th position, 3.5 seconds away from Gomersall, with Diesel Thomas running back in 5th. Can't say enough about how cool this camera angle's been from the drone over the last 2 days here at the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. Really shows you the attitude of these cars. They are difficult to drive.
Extremely difficult to drive, and I've just heard from race control that they are investigating the contact between the Graham Cheney and Mark Crutcher.
That's no shock to anyone, I don't think, down there. I think Crutcher will have a look at that replay and realise there was nobody out there. Certainly no malice to it. They're great mates off the track. So it looks like Cheney's gone back out onto the racetrack of the IES sponsored. There he is, car 51. Usually see 2 out there for the event, but Paul Hadley withdrawing after practice, or before practice, with a recurring wrist injury, but he's still watching on. J-Max in pit lane.
Update on Graham Cheney as he came in for an inspection. I noticed a buckled front left wheel. It's got quite the kink in it. That car is going to be hard to pull up and to steer.
Jarrod McLean in pit lane. As we stay with Cheney, he's just going to limp this car home, one would think. So we go into the 8th lap here of race 3 of the TFHI TA2 Muscle Car Series by Maritimo. It's Payne, Webster, Gomersall, Tracy and Diesel Thomas, the top 5.
We're going to take a super short break and we'll be back with more from the Winton Wrap.
Back at Winton Motor Raceway and the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. Here are the leaders up at the top of turn 7. And we referred to this during commentary in qualifying earlier today. Good to see the teams just leaving those battle scars from yesterday's races on there. Gives a bit of character. Shows you these guys mean absolute business out there.
Yeah, it's always good when they keep the battle scars on. We know just the history, especially between some drivers, it creates a story. But, yeah, at the moment, Brock Payne's pressing on with this. He's just set the fastest first sector of the race, and Blake Tracy's not too far behind him lap time-wise.
In car with Brock Payne, with the R next to the number, indicating he's one of our rookies this year in the series. Drivers in their first year, and they can't be professional drivers. We'll class some drivers that might be experienced in other categories. We'll identify them as rookies in the TA2 series. There's awards up for that as well, with the pro drivers under 45, the Serco Masterclass, which is just the 4 drivers here this weekend, but 2 going into the final race to battle it out with Cheney and Crutcher for that here at Winton Motor Raceway. So we stay with Gomersall, who's 1.9 seconds away. Lap time staying in the mid-126s. And they'll be digging a bit of cloud cover, although it doesn't look like there's much out there with that shot. It's certainly a lot overcast compared to qualifying earlier today.
Wouldn't mind a cloud to move over and a bit of rain.
What difference does that make when we see cloud cover?
It's definitely a little bit easier on the grip-wise with the track temp, but when the track's this warm and it's so humid and everything out there, I think probably not a massive difference, more so direct sunlight when it really affects it.
Which we had plenty of this morning, and particularly in that last race of the day on Saturday. So chasing Ben Gomersall down the shortened back straight before this first gear left-hander brings us on to the longish back straight. This young guy has just found the sweet spot with this car. They came out in a blaze of glory, didn't they, at Sydney under lights back in May, but then disappeared down the field for a bit. There's Collier with the bonnet off down here in the pits, so he's been in there for just over a minute. The TFH team going to work on that car to at least get him out and get a result today. So gap brings out to 1.1 seconds now. Payne to Webster, so Webster may regroup here to give those tyres a bit of a chance to cool down with just under 7 minutes of the lap remaining in this third race of TFH TA2 Muscle Cars here at Winton Motor Raceway.
Looks like Brock Payne just hanging on. The top 4 lap times are covered by half a tenth every lap the past 5 laps, so they're not going anywhere. It's going to be the battle of the tyres, I reckon. And
going into that last race, we could have some surprises in there, because how easy is it to drive one of these cars knowing you've got a short tyre bank, but you know you can get a stiff of the lead? How do you think about that, trying to manage them?
Everyone says they're managing tyres, and they've done the tread depths, and it's going to be all good for the next race, but I don't know about that. When you want to win a race, you sort of just think in the moment, in my opinion. Obviously, when you get good guys on the radio, last year, if I was racing, you get good guys that say, all right, back it off. Tim Brook was really good at that, just telling me to calm it all down. We've got more races to go. And like I said, it is a point system.
Incidentally, on that, it's going to be a post-race investigation just sent through to us here from race control. So Stephen White, the White Dog, will have a bit of work to do in between the first and second race here today. Probably a good move not to pull the trigger straight away on that. Get both sides of the story, get both the in-car cameras. All these cars have SD cameras inside there at Capture all the racing. So they've got all the points of reference to use to adjudicate that, rather than just pulling the trigger and then, oh, actually, we didn't see that.
Yeah, when it's not real obvious, White Dog does a great job of breaking down all the data and the footage and everything. So, you know, in some ways it's not fair to give an on-track penalty if it's not black and white. So it's fair enough to just look at it, have a look. Crutcher and Graham will no doubt talk it out, and yeah, they'll make the decision sensible for the situation.
Worth having a camera on those two post-race. J-Mac?
Des Collier, the second time in the pits, and it looks like this time for good. The crew were paying attention to the coil leads, and it sounded like he had a misfire as he backed the car into the garage.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And you know what it's like once you get electrical drama, you can spend all weekend trying to sort that out. You take it back to the workshop, and it could just be a crimped lead from maybe the bonnet going down the wrong way or running through the rails of the cars. They can be fickle machinery at times, race cars.
Yeah, definitely. It's frustrating not only for the team, but the driver sitting there, he's hot, he's bothered. Last thing he wants is an issue with his car, and they don't know what it is. Always frustrating.
That puts Collier and Crutcher out. Also, Glenn Ebert has come back into the pits, or into the pits for the first time in the 82 Chevy Camaro, so it looks like his day is done. 2 minutes in the lane there for him. As the top 3 from the drone cam, as it does the chasing here at Winton Motor Raceway, covered by 2 seconds. Payne, Webster and Gomersall. Blake Tracy still 1.8 seconds behind in 4th position, but he'll just be hoping for a result today. He's very upbeat about his racing. Even with the frustrations of yesterday, he was positive about going forward today.
Yeah, I've never seen that kid not be upbeat, to be fair. But yeah, he's doing a great job, and hopefully he continues on his great form, and especially in the Trans Am category with the clean sweep after tail bend. His head is massive, no stress.
Yeah, and came very close to winning a Trans Am race this year too at Sandown in those very weird conditions we had on the Sunday afternoon. He's 18, 18th birthday. A massive career ahead. His dad Mark's got big plans to progress him forward. I'm sure we'll see him here again next year. He'll focus on the final 2 rounds of the Trico Trans Am Series in the regular car, not with the Hi-Tec Oils team, when we head to Mallala and then to Adelaide for the grand final event. We're expecting a capacity field there for that race on the streets of Adelaide at the end of November. So Brock Payne controlling the race and controlling the tyres, something that he's worked very hard at. Very impressed with this team. They very much are a family-run team. They don't do a lot of dollars out there. They've got great support from Hutchinson Builders and the Montauk Tavern helping him out this weekend, but really, it's all hands on deck down there at the 33 team.
Yeah, it's great to see straight out of Formula RXA. As soon as he debuted in Sydney Motorsport Park, he was straight on to a podium. So it's awesome to see for him. And as this race wears down, he's currently the fastest car on track. So he's looked after those tyres well. He's learnt from yesterday, and he's just going to keep pressing on now.
We believe there's some rear-end dramas with the 82 entry of Glenn Ebert, so that puts him out with Des Collier and Mark Crutcher. We watch Hayden Hume reign in 7th position, who's coming off a mixed weekend in the Toyota 86 Series up at Surfers Paradise last weekend, but 5th in the standings with a round remaining. He's really stepped up. I think he's controlled some of the aggression he brought to the series in the first couple of rounds and has really looked after the 45 car as we go into the final lap. And lap 15, so we're keeping the consistency going with the laps in these races at Winton Motor Raceway over the last couple of days. So Payne with 0.8 of a second advantage over Webster and Gomersall, looking likely to stay that way. This result will set the grid for later on today in the finale of 2025 in the TFHI and TA2 Muscle Car Series as Graham Cheney just cruises just to get to the line. In fact, he might go another lap down because the leaders are down around the Gumtree section here at Winton. The only part of the track that does get shade on a day like this is down towards the last set of turns we go at Brock Payne. What a weekend it's been. Had he not burned the tyres up in that first race yesterday, could have been on target for a clean sweep. With Josh Webster going to fight this right down to the final corner of the race. But to put Webster in a good position, though, for the last race today and a turnaround for the La Machina Mustang and Marcus Ambrose Motorsport. But what a day, another pole position for Hutchinson Builders, Brock Payne Racing Team. And the 23-year-old cruises towards the checkered flag for his 2nd victory of the weekend here at Winton Motor Raceway by 0.7 of a second from Webster, Gomersall and Blake Tracy. Great turnaround for Lee Stibbs as well, getting a result. Both Hi-Tec cars getting inside the top 10 to 8th position for the South Australian. Confirming your result, 0.7 of a second the win to Brock Payne. He's getting used to this winning stuff with Webster, Gomersall and Tracy all inside the top 4. Diesel Thomas ahead of Josh Thomas. Hayden Hume 7th, Lee Stibbs, Reedy and Hayden Pullen. Finishing in 10th position, Warren Wadley and Graham Cheney. The last of the finishers with Ebert, Collier and Mark Crutcher. Today's DNFs licking their wounds, but no doubt ready for race 2 of the day and the final race of the 2025 season. Yep, told you, tight-knit family. They love their motor racing, and he's just getting more and more confident behind the wheel of this Chevy Camaro. Great job to Ben Gomersall once again, the Unit Racing sponsored 35. It's like the Mo's getting bigger every time we see him down there in Victory Lane. We'll do that now because here's Jarrod McLean.
Ben Gomersall, you tighten your stranglehold on 2nd place in the championship. Having a chat with Todd Hazelwood, he was saying, you guys throwing everything at the car and the track, but these two out front, they were fast.
Yeah, honestly, man, we tried a lot then. They were pretty quick, so P3, not the worst, but we still got a little bit to find. It's so close between the top 3, though, so really we just run our own race there.
Well done. Let's go for one more time.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Josh Webster, brilliant result for you and the Marcus Ambrose Motorsport team. The pace was hot out there in that race.
Yeah, it was. We sort of ran out of the front tyre early, tried to keep the pace up, but also tried to keep some tyre underneath us in case Benny Gromus will come at us. But can't thank the boys enough at Marcus Ambrose Motorsport. They pulled an absolute miracle to get the car out after last night. So to repay them, it can't get much better than one step forward. So hopefully we can do that in the next one today.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's great to see you up here.
Yeah, thank you.
Brock Payne, 2 pole awards, 2 race wins in the one weekend. This is looking good for a great result.
Oh, it's been fantastic, mate. That was a good race there. Webster had pressure on me the whole race, so I couldn't afford to back off or make a mistake. So credit to him and Ben getting on the podium as well. Great effort. But yeah, stoked for all my friends and family and sponsors to get another win for them. Let's see if we can back it up this afternoon.
Well, back it up this afternoon is exactly what you're going to have to do, starting from P1 for the final race of the weekend. Tell me, this is uncharted territory for you. How did you approach that race start just then?
I was a little bit less nervous than yesterday, considering I'd done it once before. So I just got to get in the rhythm. If I can get clean air at the start, focus, hit my marks, and not worry about what they're doing too much behind me, and we should be okay.
Well, fantastic stuff, Brock. Job well done, and we're looking forward to the final race of the day. Mel Price in pit lane.
Yes, well, we saw in the last TA2 race that Graham Cheney and Mark Crutcher had a bit of a coming together, the 2 Masters Championship rivals. Well, the good news is they're both fixed and back out on track for the last race. You can see Mark Crutcher's car here has a little target on the brand new bumper bar with Mark Cheney's number on it.
But this is the grid for the final race. Race 28 of the 2025 series. We chalked up 378 laps of racing over this year to this point. Payne and Webster on the front row. Ben Gomersall and Blake Tracy. Diesel and Josh Thomas in the battle for the final place overall in 3rd for the championship. Hayden Hume, Danny Reedy, Hayden Paulin and Warren Wadley scored a top 10 result with those DNFs earlier today. Graham Cheney, Des Collier and Mark Crutcher will be the balance of the grid for this 13-car field. Brock Payne, well, regardless of what happens today here at Winton, they can go into the summer recess with a lot of confidence. The little family team that have punched well above their weight here at Winton this weekend, reigning, now outgoing Formula RX8 champion, could be a key figure in the 2026 series. Diesel Thomas will carry one of our in-car cameras for this race, along with Josh and, of course, Brock Payne carrying the 3rd one for this 20-minute race that wraps up our coverage here today. The Winton wrap-up for 2025. It has been action aplenty from dawn till dusk all 3 days. Great to see Regional Victoria coming out and supporting one of the most historic venues we have in Australian motorsport. It opened back in 1960. And this section of the track opened back in 1997, extended it out to 3 kilometres. But for now, the TA2 muscle cars have it all to themselves. The target on the front of Mark Crutcher. Anybody ahead will look up and see that in their mirror. We're in car with Josh Thomas, who's keen to go racing. You can see the bonnet pop up there as he ran into the car ahead. And that's a much cleaner start from the front. Webster staying with Brock Payne. A little bump, a little grind through the middle of the first turn. They stay in the rows of 2. Clean, but a lot of pressure as they make their way up the top of the old pit straight. Payne covers him off into turn number 1. They're squarely. Oh, Webster's going to go wide. All that good work has come up donuts for the 200 machine. He's going to lose a ton of positions here.
Yeah, and Blake Tracy got his wish. He wasn't letting anyone in once he got there. This new go zone start, you got to be on it. And he was lucky to follow through there, a couple of mistakes.
Just parked it, didn't he? And puts Webster back to 9th position ahead of Danny Reedy. So what can the number 200 La Machina Ford Mustang do? So around the gum tree we go, looking at Ben Gomersall. Blake Tracy up to 2nd, and Brock Payne leads for the 3rd time this weekend in the TA2 muscle cars. Cheney has also made up a heap of positions already. He's up into 7th position. So that's 4 cars already that we think he's got done. As Crutcher doing the same. What we know is both these guys have got good tyres, in particular Crutch.
Yeah, definitely. After a couple of bad races, and especially qualifying 1, Crutcher didn't do a heap of laps, so his tyres are going to be fresh, and he'll want to hang on here.
Into the first lap we go. And Tracy going up, and could he turn this around? Could he he get the win today and reward the Albury fans? A lot of friends and family here.
He wanted to reward me for kicking me out. Nah, he'll do a
That'll
good
get
job.
back.
He wanted to be here, and he's sending this thing. He wants to win a race at his home track.
So into another lap. 20 minutes of racing. We've been averaging 15 laps over the weekend. There's some dust in the background. Now we heard the Who's tyres screaming in the background. As we chase them through this long, sweeping, ongoing turn 6, and all of a sudden you're flicking the steering wheel back to the right. That's caught out several drivers who get that curb wrong. It usually spits you out to that gravel trap on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I spoke to Ben Gomes all about that one, and yeah, he just got it all wrong yesterday. But yeah, I don't know what happened here with Webster. I think he just maybe pitched that right front, and it's easy enough to do. If you don't sit it in that camber there, you're gone.
It would have been like an automatic handbrake coming up too. And lucky to redeem. Lucky not to go further off the track, but it'll take a couple of laps of those tyres to clean up, right?
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to turn that tyre into a 50-cent piece. Once you lock a tyre, you'll always find that spot. So he's got to be careful now to keep that thing not unlocked and, yeah, keep on chasing. You'll pass the cars.
Clean track ahead here for Brock Payne, but Blake Tracy is right on the bumper of the Hutchinson Builders entry. The Chevy Camaro leads the second Chevy Camaro. Then it's the Ford Mustang running in third position. Approaching 200 Ks on the way down into that first left-hander. So Gomersall trying to stay with these two. What's happened at the back here? That's Crutcher again and that Cheney on the left-hand side. They've gone back down the field to 12th and 13th position.
Don't tell me, Knowles.
Did that target work? There's another car ahead there. There's damage on the front of both of these cars.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Could it be? And they were both in position for the hard charge reward until that moment. Off the track, in the middle, it's chaos here at Winton. Diesel Thomas to the infield now. Is he just going to miss the sign? Because there's a financial penalty for hitting one of them. It will be next year when we bring it in. Rejoins the track, but down the field. Wow, you take your eye off the screen for a moment and it just explodes here at Winton. Dust and debris everywhere. Down into turn 10. And a long way to go, some 16 minutes. Oh, I fear this replay. This is Webster making the move on Graham Cheney into the penultimate turn. Forced up on the curb. Was there a tap between the two? There's at least a bit of rubbing here. Oh, and he gets up on the curb and sends him around, and Crutch made contact. Crutch made contact with him on the exit. Innocent party in it. This was Thomas. Sprint carring his way off the track, and lucky not to crack that front splitter.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got away with that. Probably is a little bit damaged, but you could not script the Cheney and Crutcher.
Wow. An incredible amount of race winners over this year. In fact, 10 from the 27 races in the 2025 series, and Crutcher back in pit lane. And
the target worked.
The target did work.
We're going to take a super short break and we'll be back with more from the Winton Wrap.
Back at Winton Motor Raceway and the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series into turn 10, 126.5 on the previous lap. Here is Webster. These camera angles, I certainly hope they sign this up for 2026. They've given us some magnificent shots around Winton Motor Raceway over the last couple of days.
Is there a question mark over Webster, the Cheney incident?
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Certainly no news at the moment from race control, but I think there'll be a bit to discuss after this. Just as we say, Diesel Thomas has been given 5 seconds for the re-entry, so they'll add that on to the end of the race time. I'm sure he's just been getting the message now from pit lane, and at the moment he'll be dropping maybe into 8th position, maybe 9th at the end of this race, with Hayden Hume, Webster and Diesel Thomas through the shot. Danny Reedy's having a solid day today. Danny Orr moving number 5 Chevy Camaro. But the sprint car stars that transitioned across from the dirt into bitumen racing. Jermaine Ramsey was with us for a lot this year as well. Of course, Robbie Farr, who's watching at home today. We look forward to seeing them back in 2026 and confirming it is for the re-entry on the 5 coming from race control. So lap 7 of this race. 10.5 minutes and a lap remain in this TFH Hire TA2 Muscle Car Series by Maritimo finale. Through the right-hander, we stay with Webster. Up to 6th position after running as high as 2nd. It's Brock Payne that continues to lead by 1 full second in the final race here at Winton. So here's Hayden Hume with Webster in tow. So we'll put Danny Reedy, if he stays in that 5-second mark, up into 7th. And that'll be good for Danny Reedy this year. 7th place in race 2 at Sydney has been his best result. 3 top 10s so far. Oh, I think Race Control are having a look at this one. This was part 1 of the incident down at turn 11. So he's up on the curb, but it's the second shot they'll be looking at here.
Yeah, it's this one here in the last corner. He's probably there the whole time, but was he far enough up?
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's up on the curb as well. And that was just enough of a nudge to spin the 51 around. We didn't see, but we know there was contact between the 4 and the 51. While we got this opportunity, a big shout out to all the teams on this season. It's one incredible family, TA2 Muscle Car Series, and it's really grown. It's bonded a lot this year. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names that want to get into the category. And while we're on that subject, I want to say a big shout out and a farewell to Craig Denyer. His last day with us here. He's been around for decades in motorsport. He's been around this gig since 2018. And what he doesn't know about motorsport simply isn't worth knowing. And from a personal point of view, I want to thank him for a lot of mentoring early in my career. One of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. I know he'd be hating this, giving a big shout out that we tried to drag him up for commentary for one last blast. But CD, we appreciate you. And thank you so much for your contribution to not just this, but motorsport nationwide for the last 50 years.
Yeah, no, Craig Daniel was there when I started, and just, yeah, plenty of years in the motorsport industry. He's done a lot. I was very lucky enough to go over to New Zealand and race with Peter Robinson for 2 weeks, and got to live with Craig Daniel. And as a joke goes between you and him, I've always just known him as Grant's dad.
Yes, exactly. Can tell a story, can Craig Denyer. Back to Josh Thomas in 4th position, and Hayden Hume, who I think's really come of age this weekend in that 45 machine. He runs in 5th position with Webster in 6th. He was as far back as 9th, J-Mac.
Des Collier exiting pit lane in a great hurry after a resurgence in that ignition issue. The exact same lead on the exact same side of the block.
Wow. You just want to kick a car when it's like this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if it's the same issue, I'd say it's getting down on the exhaust, or too close to the exhaust anyway. Hot days like this, it doesn't really matter what the temperature of the day is, but if it gets near the exhaust, it's sort of game over for a plug lead.
There was a fair bit of cloud cover for race 1 earlier today, but those clouds have burnt away. There is expected storms later tonight, but certainly won't impact what we have here in the final 3.5 minutes. We had a very changeable day here on Friday. It was quite muggy, and then some storms blew through overnight, took the humidity away for yesterday. It was just a perler of a day, temperature-wise. Today started off quite warm. We jump back in car with Brock Payne, using first gear through this section, I'm noticing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a dash or it's in 2nd gear.
It's in 2nd, it's a bit behind.
Yeah.
It's not even catching up now.
Yeah, we don't have in the TA2, there's no gear selection sensors or anything.
For that reason?
Yeah.
Don't want to give away your gear change.
Yeah, that's right.
How have you found the gearbox in these? We have had some dramas over the last couple of years. Are they a sensitive gearbox, or is there a way of finessing them, like a sequential box that we have in supercars, for example?
It was more so the H-Pattern G-Force has the external linkages, so they pick up some either a bit of rubber or any sort of grit or dirt you get in there. You had to really stay on top of them, otherwise it'd pick up 2 years or something like that, which wasn't the gearbox's fault. It's management and prep on the car, but everyone says the haulage is great, and it is. It's a beautiful gearbox to drive with, but it looks to me that Brock Payne's still running the G-Force, so it goes to show there's no real advantage in it either.
So into lap 13 of this race, we understand that the incident between Josh Webster and Cheney will be investigated post-race, so it'll be an unofficial result pending an inquiry on that one. And Cheney has come up into 9th position and all of that, as high as 7th before the contact down there at turn 11. So the gap is almost Just half a second between these two. He knows it's go time with less than 2 minutes remaining. Blake Tracy we're talking about, trying to deny Brock Payne another victory.
I think he's got the pressure on him. I think the mirrors are filled up there for Brock Payne. It's going to be a battle to the end, but yeah, don't want to be biased, but come on, Blakey.
I'd be worried if you didn't say that. That is the right-hander. So we should get 2 laps here into the end of this lap. So Diesel Thomas around that 5 seconds. He's going to drop into 8th position. Danny Reedy, Cheney and Pullen. Cheney looks good for the Serco Masters Class award for this round. And the overall crown for the over 45s, Al Crutch off the track again, and that's coming out of turn number 9, 10 around that region. He did make the highlights reel this morning. That's weird. So the rears were locked up on that.
I feel like it wouldn't be a TA2 race if Crutcher wasn't in the highlight reel.
Yeah, I think it's by design sometimes.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty happy about it too.
He doesn't mind it.
I walked past him before. He's like, I made the highlight reel.
It's all he cares about, though. He does take it very seriously, and the debut of that car at Queensland was horrific for the team, but they feel like they've got rid of the bugs out of that now. It's a very fast car once it's sorted out. Made up a lot of positions in one of the races up there, QR, from 24th up into 11th in one of the races there. So we look up at turn number 7. So the curtain starts to come down on season 2025 in the TFHI and TA2 Muscle Car Series by Maritimo. We'll say big thanks to Maritimo and Bill Barry Cotter, the managing and owner, the former offshore powerboat racer in his own right, who's helped us out with presenting this year's series, along with TFH, Brett Thomas and their amazing team, the continued investment in this series. We work our way down towards the end of this race today, and we're getting closer for a return for you in 2026 as we work our way into what is the last lap. Brock Payne looking good out in front.
Yeah, he's definitely pulled the gap here, and unfortunately it looks like Blake Tracy just hasn't got what it takes here at the end. In actual fact, I reckon Brock Payne's put the hammer down and said goodbye. So he's managed these tyres well, and say little Blake, he's nice and hot under the collar, be straight into the ice path after this one.
Lured him into a false sense of security, perhaps, as Payne up towards turn 7, punch of flame from his Hutchinson Builders Chevy Camaro. And it would just be cruising from this point. Blake Tracy will harass him like a hawk through this section. And time is running out for the 18-year-old from Albury, with friends and family watching on from the main straight here today at Winton Motor Raceway. Gomersall will be third and Crump will be third. They've pulled away some 11 seconds from Josh Thomas. It's going to be Payne for the overall, Gomersall for second. And Hayden Hume will get on the podium for the overall. So well done to the Toyota 86 star. But this guy scored his first pole yesterday, scored his first race win later in the day, came back to Winton this morning and did the pole. He's now going to do the double and wins the final race in TFHI and TA2 Muscle Car Series for 2025. Well done, Brock Payne. Back-to-back victories, collects the round win, collects the fastest lap. Well done, sir. You're the man. And Brock Payne puts himself in the record books, our newest round winner. The TA2 Muscle Car Series, the final race, race 28 of the year. From Blake Tracy and Ben Gomersall home on the podium in second outright. Hayden Hume will fill the third spot outright here today with Webster in 6th. Diesel Thomas, Danny Reedy, Graham Cheney and Hayden Pullen. Well done to Cheney, winning the Serco Masterclass round win and the championship for the Masters in 2025 as well. And enough for Diesel Thomas to secure the top 3 in the championship on corrected order. Sorry, Josh did get it in the end on corrected order now. So Hughes winning the series and the $10,000 ring, thanks to Wallace Bishop Jewelers and the trophy. I'm sure he's watching on from New Zealand, where he had a solid weekend in the GT4 series. Brock Payne collects it and wins the round. Great job, this family-run team. They will celebrate this. This is a great way to go into the summer break. And they'll be back bigger and better season 2026. Let's go down to Victory Lane. Here's J-Mac.
Ben Gomersall a great season, wrapping up second place. Congratulations. Third in that final race of the season. It's been a rough weekend.
Yeah, to be honest, we've had some ups and downs. Probably struggled a bit for pace since race 1, but still on the podium, so not the worst result. Can't thank the boys enough. It's been a good year. They've worked super hard, so yeah, good to come away with second in the championship.
Congratulations, soak it in.
Cheers, thank you.
P2, Blake Tracy, you threw everything out of that race. You just told me that you lost power steering halfway through. Wow.
Yeah, it got a bit tough out there. Brock Payne, mate, unbelievable job. First round win, didn't step a foot wrong. I was trying to pressure him into a mistake, and no, it was really good racing. So.
No, it's been brilliant watching you two new young guys up the front. Fantastic racing, and we hope and presume that we'll be seeing you as part of the Super Series in 2026.
Absolutely, well, it's a pretty big year next year for everyone, I think, and just want to say a massive thanks to all the locals coming down supporting me. It's awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations.
And an incredible finish to the 2025 season, scoring 75% race wins for every race here this weekend. Congratulations, Brock Payne. You must be on top of the world.
Yeah, I couldn't have expected that coming into this weekend. So, we've struggled for the past 2 rounds. So to have a result like this in the last round of the year is just unreal. Massive shout out to all my sponsors that have helped me, to compete this year. We wouldn't be here without them. It feels good to finally get the results they deserve. All my family, friends, my whole team here, they've done a mega effort. Shout out to Hi-Tec for the series. We can't wait to run it next year.
Congratulations, you deserve it.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
And our 2025 Circa Masters champion is Graham Cheney. Congratulations, and an interesting way to end the season there.
It was definitely a tough weekend, but yeah, pretty excited to take that out. First year in it. Feel a little bit bad that I'm a master, but yeah, I guess the age is coming.
And so it looks like that target worked in the last race there on Crutcher's car?
Yeah, we got to see each other. I got to look him in the eyes and give him a wave while we sat there on the last turn, but yeah, things happen.
No, it's great to see the Masters side of things so competitive as well, and we can't wait to see all of you guys here again next year to do it all again.
Yeah, no, it's great. We've got races inside races, and yeah, everyone gets on so well, and yeah, a bit of rubbins racing, so it's all good.
Good stuff, thank you.
Well, it was an incredible 6 rounds of racing across 9 months for the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series, wasn't it, J-Mac?
Yeah, I have to say, if I was going to pick a favourite round, it'd have to be the 2-driver event at Queensland Raceway. That was stunning racing, and we've finished it up here so well at the Winton Wrap.
Well, let's have a look forward, though, into 2026, because we've seen the calendar come out, haven't we? The announcement, of course, round 1 at the Bend over in South Australia, March 13 to 15. We've got the 2 Days of Thunder in May, the 1st to the 3rd of May for the Queensland Raceway. Then back down to Sydney under lights, of course, for July 17 and 18. The Queensland Fight in the Night, where we see the big Australian production car one as well, and that's in August 13 to 15. We head back here to Winton in September, so it might be a little bit cooler than what we have seen here in this early November from the 25th to the 27th. And a TBC, a round to be confirmed in November.
Where will it be? Well, the only hint we've got is that it may be under lights. Who knows? It's going to be amazing nonetheless, Matt Kavanagh.
Well, we need to thank everybody who's joined us throughout the 2025 season. Wherever you've been watching and taking part in this, all of our competitors, all of our officials, and everyone here at the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series, we thank you for 2025, and we look forward to seeing you in 2026.